I think we're now cooking with Crisco. Okay, everybody. Thank you for joining me this afternoon. Normally, I don't have two webinars in a week. I usually just do the one on Monday. But thank you guys for joining. So I am thrilled to have Bianca Hanna. I remember when I first started talking to Bianca, and she was telling me basically how her house got flooded and nonstop in Oklahoma, which was one of the great conversations. I don't normally take 45 minutes of my day just to have a long conversation about people getting flooded, but it was a fascinating story. So it was, needless to say, that's where we started. Bianca has done some webinars. She's obviously a stunningly talented face painter. Where I'm thrilled to be working with her on a lot of things. And one of the things we started doing, and she and I just were brainstorming, so she needed some extra money because of this whole thing. And, you know, I think we're all hurting here. But one of the things we came up with is the Face Painter Marketplace. So she's making these products, the sponges that she's going to be showing you today. And we're selling them on FacePaintcom. And when we sell that, we're going to ship it to wherever it goes. Bianca will get 90% of the revenue less $1 for the order. And so if you guys have products or a dream or you want to try that out, please do. This is a service to the community. This isn't, I promise you, I'm not making any money on this deal. But anyway, I just wanted to let Bianca show off her sponges and sort of do some great designs because she always does amazing designs. Anyway, with that all said, Bianca, take it away.
Well, thank you so much, Blake, and thank you for having me. Thank you for everybody who's tuning in today. The story about the sponges is I had this idea many years ago, actually, already, and I had some memory foam at home. Not memory foam, I don't know, high density foam, right? And I thought, man, let's make some sponges out of that. And I didn't like it. I didn't like how it turned out when we cut it, and so I didn't like it at all. And I kind of dropped this whole idea again. Then Pam Kinderberg posted a video not so long ago about how she cuts her sponges, and she uses like kind of an electric knife with it. And I picked this idea back up. So I did some research about good high density foam. And it was important to me that it's made in America and that it's a good quality foam. And so I ordered these and tried them out. And I thought, well, now, especially in this time, it's not a big deal anymore to offer one sponge per face and one per kit, one per use. Like really, it's affordable now. And so this was the whole idea behind it. So I'm selling the sponges and they look like this. Can you hear me, Blake?
I can hear you fine.
Oh, yeah, okay. It was so quiet. I was just want to make sure. So this is that package, and this is like 25 sponges. Sometimes it's like even 26 inside, whatever. If it was more smaller sizes, I threw a little extra in. And it's different sizes that are in there. So they are like smaller size and bigger size, and the real ones, they are like 3.5 up to 4 inch long, so are really big, and you can cut them anytime if you feel they are too big for you. And then you have like 50 sponges, right? And this is like really only for 11 did we do, yeah, around $11, and so it's like really a wonderful price. So this is that story about the sponges. And so Blake, we were talking and I happened to mention it, and he said, well, why don't you sell them? And I said, well, I didn't plan on selling them, but okay, we can give it a try. So he had this fabulous idea to offer all people to sell their goods, whatever they do right now in these times. Some paint rocks, some create head pieces or whatnot. And so this is an opportunity to sell them in that store. And he said, well, come on, I'm gonna try it and want to do a trial. So I did that. So I cut all these sponges and so shipped the whole box to him, and they are open for sale now. So because you can cut your sponges at home of course yourself, but in case you are too lazy, trust me, it's a ton of work. Or if you don't want to do the research on a good high density foam, then just go ahead and order them. It's like really a good price, and you get really a lot of sponges for that. What I want to mention though, so these are hand cut, and I did not do extra steps if not necessary. So it's all super clean environment, and all is sanitized and super clean. So, and I cut them and pack them right away. I noticed that there might be some foam from the cutting in these bags. So if that's the case, just give them sponges, rinse with water, and they are all good. So I didn't want to do a whole extra steps where you have to let them dry and all that. I wanted to cut them and in this, clean environment, and then just pack them. And so please don't be mad if there is some foam in it. It's not dirt. It's really just foam from the cutting, which is not avoidable when it's like hand cut. And I do not have an expensive laser cutter, so we have to deal with that. So this is that sponges, and they are really nice and firm and feel good and shape good and load good. The backdrop so far is that they are white, so once they are used, you cannot get them plain white again after cleaning. So this is a little bit of a backdrop, but I could not find a black foam so far, which was good enough for my taste, if that makes any sense. I'm still working on that, but for now we work with those, and it's still okay. You can get with a professional soap, like that brush bath, or a soap for face painting, like the Superstar soap that's available, or Chameleon soap. Excuse me. They pick up the pigments pretty good, and then you just wash it with them, give them a really good rinse, and you get a lot of it out again. But yes, a little bit of color will stay in there, but it's okay. I mean, you work with them, and they still look clean. They will not look like shabby or something.
No, they look great. We managed to we sold 4 of them and everything.
Wonderful, and I hope people will like them. I hope they get good give good reviews, right?
Tricia asked, can you dye them like you can some sponges?
I would never ever recommend dyeing sponges, and the reason is actually I tried it a few years ago. I tried it myself to dye sponges before the black sponges even got on the market, so I dyed them. That was not very good. So when I dyed them, yes, they looked for a minute it looked okay, because they were all nice and dark. But when you start using it, they looked really bad over the time. So it faded out, and it looked more bad than anything good. So I threw all of them sponges away. Then I read something that it shouldn't be done anyways. When you dye them, it should not be on the skin then later. So this is another thing. I don't know who came up with that. It was like an article, a post on Facebook, and or a study. I don't remember, but it was like, no, don't dye and put them on the kids' faces. Right. And it's about a few ingredients in this dye. What is not good for the sponges was not good for the skin, and what you shouldn't do at all. So these are 2 reasons not to do it. So yeah, actually,
Tricia said she's never tried it. She's heard about it. She's too lazy to do it.
Don't waste the money, and don't waste
the time. Great.
Even if the dyeing wouldn't be not recommended for the skin, it really didn't look good. So after I used it once, and I washed it out, the sponge had such an ugly color. It wasn't black anymore. It was looking like the darkest mold, and it was a clean sponge, but it did not look appealing to the eye. So don't do the don't even waste the money, don't waste the time with it.
So let's see some cool designs with the sponges.
Yeah, I guess we can do that. So let's get started and do some designs.
Mary says she likes the idea that they're a good price, and that you can use them once and throw them away.
You can do that. Of course, there is actually a pack available from Snazzer, if I'm not mistaken. They have a 50 pack for about $10, and they're so tiny, like really tiny, very thin, and they're hard to work with. So I didn't even use them. And you have much more sponge if you buy these big packs. So yes, absolutely, I totally can recommend that, especially in these times. And you tell that to your customers, saying, hey, I'm using 1 sponge per kit, and I'm working clean. And so yes, it's important for the customer to know that you think about it, that you care about it, and that you all right, so let's get started and do some designs. And the first design, so what I'm going to do today, it's rather easy designs, so it's nothing super high level complicated. These are designs mainly on my fast board, and it's a very old designs. Old means I've been doing them for many years, but these designs never die. They always get requested, and there's a reason why they never die, I guess. So I thought I'm going to share some of them with you today.
Okay.
So the first is like a tiger eye design. All of you have done that before, so this is not a big deal. And yet I want to give out a few pointers why I'm doing it this way and not the other way, right? So I'm going to load my sponge, and I'm going to spray my sponge, and I do not spray the paint. Please don't do that. So I'm loading the sponge with, it's all Grace colors, by the way. That's a Maya blue, and this is a neon magenta, and this is that yellow. And I'm loading it. And so what I'm going to do, so this is an imaginary line, yeah, right? Like a diagonal line, because this is like the kind of flow. I want to focus on this side. So the dark goes in the middle and the yellow on the outside. And I use these colors for a reason. So these colors is like dark in the middle, and then a wonderful, colorful pink in there, and then that yellow is a light color. And so when I do eye designs, I always try to fade out with the light colors towards the ends. Just for, so it's easier. You don't want to have a sharp end at the end of your, you know, when you work with that rainbow cake. So this is the one reason why I'm doing that. And I'm looking for one. Of course, there it is. It fell on the floor. Thanks goodness it's still there. So if it's a 2-minute design, all I'm doing is I'm gonna just put the color here. But I want to do an extra step and start with, imagine here is the paint, and I want to blend out, and I'm going to use just that yellow here. See, I'm just dipping with the yellow, almost slide it. Kind of, that's going to be a fade out of that tiger design, what I'm going to do. So this is an optional step. You don't necessarily have to do it, but I'm doing it because sometimes, you know, when you work with your colors and you're like, oh, it looks so harsh, such a harsh end. This is a good way to just blend the color out. So here I don't want to use that big of a color, so I'm squeezing it a little bit. I get over the blue again and add these other colors, like over the blue. So it's not too wide. I don't want to have it too wide. So, all right. So thank you for closing your eyes for me, dearie. All right. Okay, so now I have to wait till it dries, and you all know it takes a little bit longer on a board for the paint to dry. So what I'm going to do in the meantime, I'm just adding the point, like when it's a 2-minute design, I will not do that step where I color the lips, but in that case, I will color the lips. Let me find this one a second. I take a round brush for that, and I take one of the colors, the shades that is in there. Like I would probably go with a pink tone to put on the lips. Oopsie. Oh, great. My cable is attacking me. Sorry about that. And you can use Q-tips or whatever you want. I'm using that brush right now, and I prefer the brush in real life, in real face painting as well. Yes, it's questionable right now with the COVID-19, but I use an alcohol 70% little tank and put the brushes in and let them soak, so they get sanitized. And I do not have to use Q-tips and do extra, you know, plastic trash. I don't know. I'm always into saving trash, saving recycling and all that. So I try to avoid it, but it's all up to you, of course. Oh, and one time I had actually Q-tips, what I used, and one fell on the ground, and somebody was telling me that I'm having my dirty Q-tips there, and thought it was one what I used in my ears or something. I don't know what this person was thinking, but I was okay. When people think that, then probably whatever. It's probably smart not to do that. So it takes a minute to dry. That's the thing. You want to wait until it's dry. However, this design is really on my 2-minute list, so I can't do it very quickly. So when I'm at the festival, or sometimes you have these events where you have to face paint 30 kits in an hour, then what I would do now, I would start with the second kit and do a second design on the second kit, maybe on a third kit if even. And in the meantime, the kids stay there, and the paint dries. So this is a fantastic way to save time. This is what I do when I'm really in a hurry and have to paint a lot of kits in a short time. These church events or something. That's
Joanna had a question. She said you heard alcohol could damage brushes. You don't find that?
No. I cannot confirm that. The thing is, I put it in, let it really soak, and then you can wash it out again. Don't let it stand in there forever, of course not, because over the time, the alcohol can probably go into the ferrule and start dissolving that, the gum, that's glue, not gum, sorry, the glue what's in there to hold these bristles together. And you don't want that to happen, but that can also happen with water. So you don't want to never ever put the brushes and leave them standing in the water forever. So we're talking about 30 seconds, 1 minute, where it's on, and then it will evaporate. And this is like, it's. I mean, in the past, what I did, I sprayed it to prevent that. Now, to make sure, I'm using a little extra little container and have the alcohol in, and put that in. That's just an option in case you want to use a brush for the lips. I don't do that too often. I mean, you can also use a sponge on that practice board. It'll probably be more difficult to do that, but on the lips, you just tell the kid, hey, do that, and then sponge it on. Is my face on there right now?
No, actually, no. I'm just showing the board.
Don't worry. So you can just tell the kids here, open your mouth a little bit and then dip it on the lip, and then you can use that sponge as well, and you can cut small pieces where it fits really well, and can apply that on the lips. So that's definitely a good option to do that. Like
another question from Joanne. She said, "Do you rinse the water? Rinse it with water to get the alcohol out?"
After it's been it needs a certain time to kill the bacteria or the micro, to be really working on all kind of germs, right? And it's called kill time, and it's like 1 minute, 30 seconds, 1 minute, if I'm not mistaken, on alcohol. So you should give it a good, really good bath, and then you can lay it down and let it dry. And in the time it dries, that should be approximately the time that it takes for the alcohol to really work. So this is what I would recommend. And then if you want, you can rinse it afterwards too, but alcohol usually evaporates really good. And I don't know if that's if you want to do it. But then again, the brush was wet early before. I don't know if I have honestly not enough experience yet with that dumping in, or like dipping it into the alcohol. It's something I have to practice. Do it when I have my first gig again and see how it goes. I can imagine that it works that way. So what I would do, I would really put it in, give it a good dip, and then lay it down and use a different brush. Perfect. Right, so that alcohol can work on that brush, and you can use a nice something like this where it can lay. So when it lays like this, it doesn't go into that furrow in the back, if that makes any sense. And it can really work like that very well. By the way, this is in case the question.
That's we're having also in kind of in the same spirit of that question about what to do with alcohol and safety in this terrible COVID world. Next Thursday, I'm having Tiffany Beckler, who she's
awesome.
a cosmologist from North Carolina, and she put together a 5-hour course on, great. Thanks, Denise. She ordered your sponges. Anyway, so she's going to do she did a 5-hour course that you guys can get for free. But if you don't want to watch all 5 hours, you can watch at least a summary of that for 1 hour next Thursday at 5 p.m. Eastern. Sorry to interrupt.
That is wonderful. I almost mentioned Tiffany because I was joining her class, what she gave prior, not so long ago. And I actually got, she sends you a certification if you pass the test. So I have my certification, and it's a wonderful thing. That's going to be big on a display when I have my first gigs again, because I want people to know, hey, I take care of that. I may think about it. I tried really to, I am going to work clean and safe, and I want to stand out, not be that painter who never thought about it and never took care about that. So I'm pretty sure some of you might ask what that is. That's actually a real brush holder. It's out of the nail art industry. If you go on eBay and punch in brush holder nail art, this sooner or later should pop up, and it's like in silver, in this color, in clear, whatever. They have all colors, and I love these. So I have always like a few next to each other, and when I'm working, I lay my brushes down, because when they stand like this, they shouldn't be like that, because the paint will just go in the back in that furrow and work on that. So when they lay, it's better. So when you do this with alcohol, that's a good solution to do that. So let's go back to the tiger design. It's definitely dry now. So the flow is like this, of course, and you should use a brush that is pretty pointy, and or you can also use a dagger brush or like a pointy brush. I'm using this Loew Cornell here. Another good brush would be that blazing brush number 3. That's a good brush as well, or 4, depending on how thick you want your stripes. So this is a number 4, and this is my favorite one for tiger stripes. And so I'm doing the thin, thick, thin, triple T lines, if you want to call them, or 5 T lines, thin to thick to thin lines. Mm-hmm. So you want to really start very thin, and then press down, and then fade out in thin. And what I like to do, especially at this first one, I'm going to add a little extra. Not connecting, but you know, that little extra strike that looks like really good. And then just work my way from there, right?
Yeah, that looks fantastic. That's a good tiger.
And it's like really quick. So if I don't do all the talking and you know, showing and all that and drying time, then it's like it can be done in 2 minutes. So actually, if you want a really quick design, you can. This is what I like of these designs, is that you can add if you want to, but you don't have to. Does it make any sense? Yep. So when you have time, you can go ahead and add more stuff, or you can just leave it. If you have these super fast gigs in schools and stuff, that would be probably good already. What I would definitely add, though, would be a little, try to add if you have the time, is I would add some glitter. So this is like a vivid glitter, and you can go on the paint without messing it up, and it adds more color to it. Mm-hmm. In the past, when
Thomas Bartley says hi. He says, hey, Bianca.
Hey, Thomas, how are you doing?
And Deneen ordered your sponges. So
awesome.
There you go.
Deneen, oh, I love you, girl. She's awesome. But in the past, what I did like the tiger stripes all over that cut paint. And now I'm kind of minimizing it, staying more really in that temple area, and fade out with this or with glitter or with both. And let me add some of the white. I love that craze white, by the way, Blake.
Yeah, thanks.
Of course. And then do some white dots. I mean, this is like really something all you've done before, right? This is not magic, nothing new. Just to break down these colors a little bit, get on that black, which is still a little wet, but I'm trying it anyways.
I think what's new for me anyway is kind of the way you're doing the splotches. It reminds me of Klimt, but it's that isn't something that I normally see.
All right. So
Zuri thinks it's pretty.
another thing what you can do, and I will not do it right now, but what you can do, you can use glitter gel. Do I even have one here? Oh, I think I actually do. Let me see if that even works. So I didn't plan on doing it. No, it doesn't. So I'm not doing it right now, but you can use this glitter gels. They're available, and just outline that. This is all extra steps when you have extra time. And this extra glitter gel, of course, that is like super, oh, the girls love it, right? And well, come on, gel is glitter is always magic. By the way, you can also underline that eye and make it a little more tiger look. And another thing, what I want to do, I want to add some of dots. For dots, if you need a brush that makes good dots, use a round brush that is a little older. When the tip is not so perfect anymore, that is wonderful for dots. And I always like to fill with, like fading out or fill certain spots with dots. Or you also can do the touch of a cheetah here a little bit, like it's kind of like a short line, and then just a little flick. That's still like a tiger line, but more like a cheetah look. So you can mix that. Nothing wrong with that, right? And this is like wonderful, colorful way. So I love this color. Very vibrant. Kids always rainbow, and it's super easy. And yeah, this color combination and this design I have been doing forever, and it's always requested. So this is really one I wanted to share. And you can use other colors, of course, but make sure that you fade out with a light color at the end, or with a good stencil. You can just use a good stencil, that's fine. And use that. So I do that also for boys, and I use more the red tones or the tiger color tones, and they love that as well. So this is like a really nice, very, very easy, very fast tiger design that works very well.
So just to remind everybody, Bianca's showing off her sponges, and she gets 90% of the money here. So just to keep that in mind.
Which is still not, if you minus the material cost and the work that we had, it's not so much. So you make a good deal with the sponges, trust me. All right, the next design is going to be a mask. And the last time we did a webinar, Blake, I used a black, kind of a black mat or something to show these ghost roses, right?
Right.
And Anna Ochoa, I hope I pronounced her name right. She was so awesome. She was like, give me your address. I want to send you something. So she sent me this mat. So I'm going to try this today. And we'll do the next design on that, and which is going to be a nice blue mask. And so it feels really good. It seems to be really good mat. I like it really a lot. And in the back it has that black, which looks a lot better than the one I had the last time what I used. So this is like really cool, and thank you, Anna, for that. So, and she sells those. Feel free to post your link in the thread if you want for that practice boards to buy. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to do like this blue mask. It can be a frozen mermaid mask, whatever you want to call it. So this is like a wonderful mermaid. It's a homemade cake, and it's like a shimmer blue and a teal and a different teal and a dark blue, and fades out with a darker purple. So what I'm gonna do, always when I do masks, I fade out. We don't want to have that super dark underneath the eyes, so that light color goes underneath, like here, and the dark goes on the top, okay? And these colors are always like, wonderful for frozen, and and the girls love it, of course. So close your eyes, baby. Awesome. Wouldn't it be great if they could just close their eyes?
Or you can just paint over their eyes.
Yeah, but you know what? There are a lot of people a little bit OTC, and they are like, oh, I can't see that. And I want to do that too, because It will look better. So while it is moist, actually,
Something's gone wrong with your audio.
can you hear me?
Kind of. It's very tinny. Maybe this is just me. I don't know.
I did not change anything. I promise.
Okay.
Try to work and see if it works out.
No.
So while it's still moist, I would usually put some glitter on there, which I'm right now not doing.
Yeah, we got to fix the audio. Other people are having the same problem I am.
You want me to just keep talking and see how it goes?
Change you have two phones there, right?
Yes.
So turn the audio on the other one. Actually, I can do this. Hang on. Let me see if I can do it.
Yeah, try it. And if not, I can keep on painting, but people can see at least, right?
Yeah, they can see it. Yeah.
So what I'm doing now.
Mute that and unmute
Magic,
that.
right? You can use it. You can
I think
use.
we're back.
Awesome. So you can use any color here, right? And now I have an echo though, but it's okay. So what I'm going to do now, how I even started doing these masks was the reason. So I did this color here, and then it looked like smudgy here, right? So how can you fix it? Actually, very easy. So what I'm doing now, I'm painting over that my regular princess design. So I load it with the blue because I have the blue here. And then I make my regular princess. You all can do princess. This is no secret, right?
Yep.
Do you have that echo or do I only have it?
Oh, no, everybody's got the echo.
Oh my goodness. How can we fix it?
I don't know, because I got a feeling if we try to fix it, it's going to break more things. You'd have to, yeah, boy.
So what I'm going to do, as soon as I apply it, I blend it into that foundation, what I already did. And then you have a nice clean edge. And yeah, good, all good in that mask. And if you have this really light, if you tip just a little bit, you can actually do that with a sponge too. Mm-hmm. You can blend a light color wonderful into the skin as well. Should I just go ahead and turn that volume there off?
No, yeah, you could turn your volume up, and then if I have a question,
oh, yeah. True, then I don't hear you.
Then you don't hear me. So you could turn down the volume. I think that's the only thing I could suggest.
And here, no, I don't know, is that.
Or turn down the volume on the phone that's facing you. I mean, the one that was not facing the board.
The one that's not facing me?
Mm-hmm.
You want me to turn it on or off?
Off.
Off. It's not facing me. That is turned off.
The volume? Turn off the phone.
The volume is turned off.
Now just turn off that phone completely. The one that's was not facing the board, but the other one. Just turn that off.
The one that was not facing the board.
Actually, I got a way to do this. Hang on. If we want you back, we can't get you. I think that should solve everything. That solve everything?
Okay.
Yep, it did. We're good to go.
Yeah, but now I don't hear you anymore.
You don't need to. You need to turn up the volume. So we're in the somewhat surreal world of Bianca not able to hear me at all. So if you guys have any questions, I can't do anything about it. Of course.
Yeah, I cannot. I can barely hear you.
Well, I'll speak up then. Turn up the volume on the phone.
Anyways, with all these technical things, so I think it's a little bit too dark here. I'm going to lighten it up again. You know, I've done this mask a million times and it never happened, but today it does, of course. So, and then I just do my princess outlining. And I am using a round brush. This is a paintball brush. And I'm doing the regular princess outlining, what I usually do. So just flick that down.
Right.
Then kind of a swirl in. Now go work to that center. This is like a focal point here, like a center point, and I'm going to work to that. And then I'll make a swirl like this. This kind of outlining I've been doing for many years, actually. So I hope my hand is not totally in the way. So
That's fine.
then I work towards the corner of the eye. And sometimes here, when you add a little extra, that is pretty. So this is really not and I try always to make different lengths. See? So this is like how I work around the eyes down there. And then you can either work like more teardrops and make it like a round thing, or you can just add a little gem or something. Do I have something here? Let me see. Like add a gem. And actually my princess crowns, they all get gems. This is... And then work around, and you can get like a little, can frame it a little bit if you want. So just like that. So this would be a very easy way of doing a mask. And it's like a really, I mean, that style mask has been around forever. So it's really a design what you, I'm sure.
Mary asked the question, how do the gems stay on?
Pardon me?
How do the gems stay on?
How the gems stay on? You can glue. This one is made with, you know, this, what's it called? The tulip. And you glue it on with Prosate, or with, there's a water-based glue, what you can use by Meron, for example. And you can, and just glue it on. And since there's color underneath, they usually get off very easily. You just have to tell the parents that in case there's a little bit of Prosate left on the skin, to use some baby oil or something, let it soak a little bit and peel the Prosate off, if that makes any sense. So that would be like a wonderful, nice mask.
Yep.
So the next design will be a, let me see if I have enough. Let me get the girl here. It's actually a boy design, but I have to use this girl.
Maybe if you could, Bianca, if you could move that the board up a little higher, so it's more centered in the picture. Yeah, maybe a little more.
Oh, maybe I messed with that.
It's okay.
Maybe I messed with that. Better this way?
Yeah, it's better that way.
Gosh, I really barely hear you.
I know. You need to turn up the volume on your phone. On the one that's facing the board.
So I'm using a smaller sponge now, and use this triangle side to put the white on. And it's going to be a fox, like a really super fast and super simple fox. Like it's like really more beginner level designs today. And just fast designs, what you can do in this. But this fox, I tell you what, is requested a lot by girls and by boys. It's really never grows old. So what I'm doing, so imagine you have these lines here, okay? So here I'm adding that white. And here, and this is so wonderful with this triangle shape. You can get this wonderful, nice and white shape here, right? Then I'm getting a second sponge, and I'm gonna add an orange on there. And I'm using like a mix between neon orange and it's like a tiger paint, so tiger orange paint.
Mm-hmm.
So I have this loaded, and I'm gonna work my way up. I go to the nose and then around here. And then it has this wonderful pointy shape here, so I can get this ear of this fox really nicely on there. See that?
Mm-hmm.
Let me reload that a little bit. I need to flip it real quick so I see what I'm doing.
Now you have to move it up a little bit.
And then add that head. And this,
Nice.
that ankle and that pointy, that makes it really that foxy look. Then I get a little bit of the orange left and right. Really just a touch. I'm gonna press this way so I have this round here, right? And I just want to dip that a little bit. You can, if you want, go up a touch and connect it here, but more orange here than there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because I want these ears to kind of the way they are flipped, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now I need a round brush. And I'm gonna load it with black. And I get a nice round fox nose. And then I want to have a rather thinner brush or pointier brush, like a number 2 or something like that. Yeah, let's do this one here. This is, oh, I love your new Craze brushes, by the way. I just ordered this recently.
Oh, yeah?
And I love them. They are really nice, really good brushes.
Great.
I'm going to order more.
That's
Why didn't you tell me you
fantastic.
have these good brushes?
You know, we just been getting them in slowly because of all this kind of nightmare. But yeah, that's great.
All right. So, okay, I'm going to start here on the ear and give it like a touch of a stretched S, right? Kind of like this. And then, yeah, I'm just gonna do it like this, like kind of the hair, give it this flow like that. And then go down and then just very lightly imitate that fur. Just like that, very easy. So, and then I'm gonna add this line, and it's like, again, thick, thin, thick, right? And then flick out as fine as possible. And the same here. Do you see that? Or is my hand covering?
Yeah, your hand's covered a little bit, but we can see what you're doing.
It's easier on this side for me. Okay, very easy, right? Now, if you are totally wanting to fill orange in, you can do that. You know, on birthday parties, if I want it nicely, yes. On a quick day, quick gig, no. Then I just leave it probably just like that. And for girls, add a little glitter, which we're gonna add a little glitter anyways. But you can go ahead and fill that in, right? Just a little bit extra. But like I said, for other, yeah, if you're in a hurry, you don't need to. Now, a little extra step, what you can do though, you can take this sponge and dip the corner into Star Blend. And I just need a little bit. And then drag a little bit the dark on the corner of the eyes. And it sticks better on skin, trust me. So we just have to blow whatever is not sticking on there away. So give it a little extra dark. The foxes actually have these dark pointy ears and they go in there. Another option is that you use the paint here while it's still wet and draw it in, but star blends work usually very well. It's harder on boards though, I have to admit that. And
yeah,
you can also
boards
drag
boards
that with
just
the
don't,
sponge.
they don't,
with
it
the
doesn't
wet
dry
paint.
as fast, all the rest of it.
I'm doing both now, so you see both works. Okay, so if you have a girl, again, add some glitter. Probably I would rather use a golden glitter or something, but then again, you ask them, I let them choose, right? And you can color your lips if you want. If it's really up to you, whatever you like to do. So a super fast design, and if you don't do all that extra, if you don't have drying time, this can be done under 2 minutes. It's like really a super fast, a nice design. So the next design, so how are we doing anyways?
It's 5:50, so we got another 10 minutes.
10 minutes, then I do, and I did not practice it, so I hope it will work out.
Remember,
yeah,
the key
I'm
to
going to
face
take a
painting
flat
is
brush. I'm
never
going
say
to do
sorry.
a dragon tiger mix for a boy. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use a flat brush and load it with a regular cake, what you usually use for green leaves or something like that, you know, with a dark green. And so I'm using this one here right now. It's dark green, light green, up all the way to yellow, right? So, and it's like really a super fast and super easy design. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna, I wanna have a little boat, like the head of the dragon, right? And I'm gonna wiggle it like that. And then I'm gonna do this U shape here, U shape here. Let me reload it. This is where the horns go. And then just drag it down with a little wiggle motion. Okay, then I take a sponge, load it with a light green.
Okay, we can't see you loading it.
What did you say?
We can't see you loading the sponge.
You can't see what?
You loading the sponge.
Hold on. Here.
There you go.
Yeah, I wasn't even loading it. I don't want to spray on the painting, so I have to go away for the, and then I'm just loading it actually like you would load any sponge, and then I just blend that green a little in. Really very easy. Okay, so that we have to wait again and let it dry. You know what, next time I'm going to put a little fan here that blows air then to make it dry faster. That might be a good idea. So, and then, so what I do, I just drag it down and then flick it up again. Like a big raindrop, a teardrop, I mean. So, and then you just take one of your favorite dragon stencils, what you have. This one is a very nice one. This one is a very popular one. I think everybody has that. This one is I recently ordered. I never even tried that one. And or the one that I used for the tiger earlier, that works too, of course. It's actually a very nice one, what I like using. So yeah, just take one of these. The bad thing is though, we have to wait until it dries right now.
Uh-oh.
So
well,
for,
in that time,
dragon,
I can talk about what webinars are coming up. So we've got Jacqueline Howe. She's going to be doing Fancy Masks next Monday. and think at 6 p.m. And then we have Frida Haas. She's going to dress it up with tribals. So we're going to do tribals on June 8th. So just for your calendars.
So I'm outlining that here. So, and then what I want to do, you can end it here in tribal lines or something. And I'm going to just add a little tiger stripes down here.
Mm-hmm.
See that?
Yep.
That gives it a really cool, you know, extra touch. And once this green is dry, which might take forever, then I could actually go ahead and put that stencil on. And a good way to do that, and I've been doing it for many years, is really when you take this stencil, let me use that here, and just
what was the number of the brush that you were just using?
With a lollipop, yeah. And rub that on. So. See, it makes a really good line and works really great.
Great. What brush were you using, Bianca?
I also like using the powders, by the way, which I don't have a decent brush right now. Let's just use a regular brush and I hope it works. So you can also use these to give these horns a little shade, which they are still wet right now, so I'm probably rather messing it up than anything else.
Hi, Ali.
And you can use these powders to add a little shadow, not shadow behind, but to give it a shade, so it looks more like a round horn, if that makes any sense, right? Mm-hmm. And by the way, in the time that I dries, what it also works great, and I didn't have the time now, I do not have the time to do that. You can do unicorns, for example, right? Use these, they're wonderful. If you load them, if you use a color that is like, this is a nice one, for example, this is a blue and a pink, and I use the blue on the top and load it. Let me get a cleaner one so it doesn't confused. So I load that and then I set the ears, and then you take a thick round brush and outline that. So you have that colorful inside of the ears and that white outline. That is actually a very nice way to do that as well, if you don't want to use one stroke for the unicorn ears. And if you want to have some extra colors in that unicorn's ears. So that would have been the design that I would have done today as an extra if I would have had the time. But like you said, we never really managed to get all the designs through, do we?
Never. Actually, we never.
Right. So the green is still totally not dry. Probably, let me pick up that paint that a little bit. I'm going over with a dry sponge now. So the sponge, I tried it, it wasn't wet anymore. I want to pick that up. Oh, I think it actually works. It should be drier now. Quite drier. It's still a little more, so I'm risking that now, adding that. Oh, let me try this stencil. I've never tried that. And I hope it will work anyways. So, oh, there you go. Not so bad. Mm-hmm. So this would be a really nice way for a dragon. I mean, this is like really an easy design, what all of you have done, but these dragon horns, I've been doing that forever, and the kids, they really love it, and it's a fast design, and it's a very impressive design. And see, I mean, I work like regular designs, what you all know, what you all can do, and you can really do all that with the sponges without any problems, and they work really good. And I hope you will like them. Just order them. If you have any questions, feel free anytime to contact me.
Yep.
We figure it out, right?
Exactly. And thank you guys for coming on. I really appreciate it. And, you know, this marketplace is definitely an idea. This isn't something that, you know, Bianca and I just kind of came up with it, and hopefully it works. You know, she needs some income, and it's kind of a good way of doing that. So if you guys have anything you guys can want to sell or want to do on a kind of consignment basis, or if you guys have a website and you're selling stuff there and you want us to sell it for you, just call me up and talk to me, message me. You guys know where I am. So I'd be thrilled to work with you to just try to help you out. Okay, so again, thank you, Bianca, for everything. Sorry we had all these technical troubles, but
well, we made the best out of it, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. So have a great evening, and thank you, Zuri. Thank you, everybody. Mary really loved this class. She felt it was a great sort of class to help her for a beginner. So that was fantastic. So, okay, well, have a good evening and stay safe. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.